Hello and welcome to episode 42. Sorry, what? Sorry.
I'm here.
You told me to start. Sorry, I was just in it. Just in it.
You were in the zone. I'm not sure what you were in.
Well, we've got Jess producing. Jess, was that good tone? Oh, we're getting nods and mm-hms. I'll take that from a
You're going to do
singer.
your...
No, I'm not hitting the drop, as the young people call it. You're being attacked by a new...
attacked by a plant. Help it to trip
We've
it.
changed things again.
Again, Adam.
Right, so we've got...
Sorry, who am I?
Sorry. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Andy Reid from Resilient Business Systems, and welcome to episode 42.
Mate, if we combined mine with yours,
We'll be crap and nowhere near as good as
Yeah.
LXXI, who's great.
we'd lose all two listeners.
All two listeners.
So yeah, I've changed things again. Got
It's honestly, mate,
cameras.
it's looking really nice.
LED strips around the room. Look at that.
I know.
Do you know what we're having an issue with? When we're having podcasts, it was then like people also wanted photographs still. So we've had to upgrade to more camera resources. So we're on a new camera setup, which we've been running with this week. And there is one more upgrade, which is currently in the cupboard downstairs. Having been delivered. And I'm getting a phone call in my pocket, if you can hear that. Oh, it's Rob from last week. I was just ringing him on the way in to say,
Thanks, Rob.
you know, how was it? It was a great
Excellent
episode. I really enjoyed it. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
But yeah, so upgraded the camera setup. So we've got a few things. And then next week, what we'll have is where Jess is sat. She will have a joystick with a zoom and pan and tilt in camera 1, camera 2, independent, and camera 3, independent control.
Can I use a joystick to play Asteroids?
No, but you can play robotic cameras.
Portal.
Yep.
Yeah, very good.
Just this little podcast studio has now got robots.
Robots, AI, Skynet is back.
Exactly.
How you been? Anyway, how's your week been?
It's been very, very, very busy.
I've not even seen you in the office. I mean, I know we sometimes pass each other. Obviously, where I'm on the third floor, you're on the first. I walk past, I see you. Literally not seen you all this week.
I've been in and out and in and out. I was yesterday was a great day. We're working with ModeShift. So I was hosting a webinar. Yes, Nick was there.
Was that the live one?
Yeah, that was the live one. So
Excellent. How did that go?
That was a test. It went really well.
Yeah.
Obviously using these cameras and putting it out live. It went really well. It's an absolute pleasure to be part of. So big thank you to ModeShift. And then I was covering a prom last night.
prom?
Photography only job. Me and Alina were there. And I got home at 9:30 last night.
Wow.
Yeah, and then today, what have I got? Yeah, I've got some photos to do after this over in Stockton. And then I've got another event tonight, another party thing with photography and video. So extremely busy.
Yeah, straight after this, I am rushing out to see the lovely, lovely Mags at Red Button Marketing. I've been invited to one of her seminars, so I'm rushing off to there. And then just as I was rushing off and running down the stairs, phone buzzed.
Yep.
And I was just like, oh, that's it. And one of my lovely, lovely customers in Harrogate has passed my name on. And they want a Teams meeting this afternoon to discuss
Fantastic.
IT.
And I've got someone else for you, actually, who I met yesterday, who's a new startup. And I was saying, buy Teams. No, I was saying, well, it kind of was that. But what I was saying is, if you're starting up, it'd be my suggestion, this is my opinion, other people might have other opinions, but I said it would set you in really good standing to look at the Teams option now.
Yes.
Also, there's some data protection stuff I was talking to them about. So I was saying about, how you need to register with the ICO, which we talked about.
Funny enough, did we not talk about that last week?
Exactly.
Or the week before. Sorry.
And then I was saying, consider Teams. And then I was talking about make sure you got a laptop with Windows Professional.
Yes.
Because you can BitLocker the laptop.
Gosh, Adam, it
Mate.
almost sounds as though you're listening to me.
I was. And then, do you know what I said?
Yeah.
You need an Andy.
Yeah. God bless you. God bless
It
you.
is a startup, brand new, so it's always tricky, startup times, because it's cash flow and trying to make it.
Did you offer this young person, whoever they were, to listen to episode 30 Business in a Box?
I haven't yet. And do you know what? I was in the car going to the prom job, because I've been non-stop. I was in the car going to this prom job, and I was like, hang on a minute, I need to just go there, listen to
There you
that
go.
episode.
Listen to that Business in a Box.
But yeah, so I was practicing what we preach.
Oh,
so,
lovely. You can be
hopefully,
the vicar today.
yeah. You've got paper again.
Have you seen how many pieces of paper?
This is a new record for you, Mr. Reid. This is a new record.
I did some investigation this morning. 4:30, my brain pinged alive.
Yep.
And I went downstairs, sat at the laptop, and for 2 and a bit hours, I went down the Warham. as we say.
Proverbial Warren.
Proverbial Warren. And honestly, my friend, and this, we say we touch on dark subjects.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it does get a bit dark in terms of content matter here, but it's really important to discuss.
Very important.
And we've got an announcement to make. Drum
roll, please.
Drum roll, Jess. She's doing hands.
A silent drum roll.
Silent.
Yeah.
Does
No,
that
it's a
work?
silent drum roll. What I did like is I liked the bass in it. It was really good. Like in that LXXI song that I keep singing.
Yeah.
Wasted Time. It's brilliant.
Yeah, out on Spotify now. He's dancing if you can't see it.
Again, I am going to
Move that bush over. Yeah, so that was Jess. Do you remember I said Jess took me to buy things? Because I can't be trusted. I got a little apply.
Interestingly, when I walked in this morning and I looked at all the brand new offices, I just looked at Jess and went, "Have you had Adam's credit card again?" And she went, "Yes, I have."
She has, but it's looking.
She can spend it
great.
very well.
She can.
Yes.
We're stopping now,
Yes.
aren't we?
Only because he's on the verge of bankruptcy.
So, our announcement.
Yeah, our announcement. Drum roll, please.
Right, so what did we say at the cybersecurity one? Not the last episode was obviously
Not the last
Bitcoin.
episode, not the last episode, but the last episode.
Yeah, it was cybersecurity. You tricked me up there. And what did we say at the end of the episode?
You said to me, Andy, what we should really do is do a seminar about cybersecurity.
And
We're doing a seminar about
cybersecurity. Do what you say. So we
what you say.
are doing it. So we have booked the 26th of July, pulling out the top of my head.
29th of July?
29th. I need to get that. Sorry, that
Quick,
is terrible.
quick.
I'm doing it now.
Anyway, so
what are we going to touch on in this
with the
seminar?
help of our lovely friends here in Business Central, Workspace Innovation, we have booked our own seminar room.
We have.
And we're running a few hours and presented by the wonderful Adam and the not so wonderful Andy. Oh, no, hang on, it's the other way around. We are doing a cybersecurity presentation. May I add, free of charge, but when do I get paid?
You don't, I'm afraid.
right, okay.
I'm sorry, but we are doing it. So we've already got... I'm actually seeing orders here. So we have already got orders coming in.
Wow.
We've got one.
Can you confirm the date, please?
We're already selling tickets. I'm still looking.
Still looking. The 26th.
It is the 26th. That's
Well
right.
done.
So it is a free webinar. It's a Friday morning. Everyone's welcome. It is delivered in partnership from. We've just badged it for us under the Take a Break podcast, but Resilient HubSpoke and basically Darlington Workspace, which operates the two sites. They've kindly said they'll support the event.
Very kind. Thank
so
you.
that
From the
means
team.
we can offer tea, coffee, free of charge event.
Jack Daniels.
No, not Jack Daniels.
Aww.
No, tea, coffee, free event.
Tea, coffee, yeah.
The format's going to be 9:30 arrival.
Yeah.
Get a drink, have a chat, bit of networking, kind of just, have a chat to people, get to know people. Yeah. And then at 1:45, me and Andy are going to kick off basically an hours-long workshop. And I've got some great ideas I need to talk to you about off air. Because we don't want it to be death by PowerPoint. It's going to be very much...
Shall I delete the 1,000 slides?
Yeah, you delete your slides.
I'll delete the 1,000
So
slides.
they would not be like that.
It would not.
So what we're going to
that.
do is show real-world examples that we've seen. Also talk about probably some best practice stuff. So kind of how to identify an issue or a potential cyber threat.
Yeah.
Then also probably best practice in how you can then safeguard yourself in terms of the systems you can put in place, and then look at probably processes in which you should probably try and take with a digital approach in mind in terms of how you access links and things like that.
Got a few policies that I'm beginning to pull down from our friends at the FSB about data breach security, what you do, how you do it, risk register, all of that type of stuff. So I'm thinking it's definitely going to be a bit different. It'll be me and you, zany as usual, but with a lot of good advice and real world examples.
Yep. So then basically that lasts for an hour. There'll be Q&A throughout, so don't worry about that. If you want to get involved and ask questions, please do. It's the space to do it.
Yeah.
And then
networking
for the last 15 minutes. So it's an hour and a half long, 9:30 to 11.
And then
everyone can go about their day.
No, I was going, and then a live performance by LXXI. Oh, no, hang on.
I don't think we've asked it yet. Yeah, you got the look.
I'll just rewind that. And then everybody can go home.
Yeah, and Jess can sing.
Hey!
There we go. So it is on Eventbrite, so just look for it. Take a break. Take a break for cybersecurity is what we're calling it. And it's right here in Darlington at Business Central.
Yeah, it's looking forward to that.
There we are, plug done, but it's not a plug really because it's a free event.
It's a free event, so hopefully it'll find some people, if they come along, you'll find it useful. You know, it's always good to keep up to date with the cybersecurity people because those bullies and hackers. I see how I linked it then. Those bullies and hackers, they are constantly 24/7. So no, going to be a good event. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So with that in mind, Andy has very kindly created all this paper to go through today, and we're going to focus more on cyberbullying.
Yeah, which is a real. We've touched on it a couple of times, haven't we? About how you protect yourself in this digital age. So I thought it was important to do, but you know, we've had a couple of dark episodes.
Yeah.
Oh dear. This one is...
it is going to be a bit dark. It's a bit of a warning, but I think, do you know what? Let's just embrace it for what it is. It's a thing that happens.
No, it is.
It's the thing we need to be mindful of. Obviously, people with kids growing up, I've got kids growing up and stuff like that. It's something I think as parents we need to be aware of.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, why not? Let's just today take a moment to actually have a look at the issues around cyberbullying. Everyone knows what it is as a headline.
I think so.
But actually, there's a lot more that goes on.
Yeah, definitely.
And I can tell that just by the sheer number of pieces of paper that you've created here.
Honestly, as I said, I went down the rabbit hole. What I would also like to touch on is some of the things that I've known that you've done for your lovely little children about digital age, what you've done to protect them. So again, if we can just remind ourselves and our listeners about how you turn the Wi-Fi off at 9 o'clock,
Yep.
you know, make sure you've got the kids' protection, make sure you know, something like, I know you've got the ubiquitous...
The other day,
switch
they
on.
wouldn't come off it, and I just unplugged the internet from the router. Bad dad.
Bad chipmunk.
But then I knew another friend who did the same thing at the
Yeah?
weekend as well.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel so bad after
I
that.
didn't feel so
It was
bad.
like, come on,
Daddies.
you need to come off. You need to come
Yeah.
off. I'm like, just a second.
Yeah.
So
Bye.
I just unplug. Done.
Right, so not wanting to get too deep into this, but I wanted the first page for those who can't see, because we're on a podcast, so that's everyone. See what on the first page, Adam, what I've done is I've done a couple of topics for us just to discuss.
Okay.
However, I would just like to start probably on, goodness me, it's all over. There we go. Right. Let me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, yeah, I've got you.
Now then, okay. I didn't know about 2 of these, but
Okay.
what we're going to do is we're going to do types of cyberbullying. Okay.
Yep.
So probably number 1, Adam, is the most obvious one, and I see it sadly on a weekly basis.
Yep.
It's social media bullying. Somebody makes a post about something. It's either funny or it's a picture of themselves, whatever, and people just sadly let loose. And
Yeah.
they tell them what they think, and it really does. It does hurt. It's mean comments, making fun of the victim publicly on social media, gossiping, and even threatening through private messages. So there's the first one, mate. I just find that abhorrent. But
Yeah, and I mean, I think when we think cyberbullying, that's probably what people probably go to and think of. I always, you know, and I think part of the thing is when it's like the direct message thing, kind of goes unseen, doesn't it?
it does, because nobody can
It's
see
not
it.
public
on the
space.
It's direct at you,
Yeah.
the person.
So yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, the social media bullying, I mean, thankfully, because we're saying about media and sensationalizing sort of the Bitcoin crime stuff, but actually media has also done a good job to shine a light on
Yes.
social media bullying, and schools now have got, you know, good policies in place in terms of trying to stop it from happening at the outset, but they can't always do that because obviously they have the pupils during school time, and it's, you know,
The thing
pupil
is, it's
behaviour.
no more of a form. So if you remember when we were back when we were lads,
Aye.
we had a form of cyberbullying. You know, you always had that kid where you took the mickey out of him. You know, we all had nicknames for people and stuff like that. But I don't ever think we went to the point of real sort of like bullying about it. It was said in a jokey, you know, I had a nickname and it was just like, that's fine, you know.
I got compared to the bad guy in the Chipmunks.
Yeah.
I got called Mr. Bean the other week. Was
Mr.
that TikTok?
Bean?
I think it was TikTok. Yeah, Mr. Bean. Because I was dressed a bit, was it the boss thing? There's a trend called, can you watch my boss for a minute? So we got Jess to go, can you watch my boss for a minute? And she sticks the phone recording. No, I wasn't dancing on this one.
That wasn't a dancing
But it's
one.
that sort of thing. So I'm literally working at a computer and she just went, can you watch my boss for a minute? And she stuck the phone in front of me. And I was like, hi.
I'm typing.
Me just being me, I was just like, hi, boss. apparently, you know. And I was like, I wore a shirt because I knew you were coming, but it's the way I said boss, and it was like, how did I do it? It was like boss. It was like, it sounded a bit Mr. Bean-esque.
Right, okay.
So someone was like, Mr. Bean vibes. That's not a bullying thing.
That's bit of fun, bit of humour.
Yeah. But I suppose the question is when does it stop being a bit of humour and when does it stop? That, by the way, I do not offended. I feel quite privileged to be compared to Mr. Bean, comic genius worldwide.
Absolutely.
But the question is when does it stop being fun and bought into?
The interesting thing that I found, Adam, is that when I was reading all of this, when I was investigating it, and a lot of the one phrase that came up from a lot of people when they were talking about this is basically, if you wouldn't say it to their face, don't say it from the keyboard.
Exactly.
Yeah? So yes, I would call you Mr. Bean. Yes, I take the mickey out of you about Mr. Chipmunk. I would never be derogatory about anybody, to their face. So why would I do it behind a keyboard? But a lot of the topics that came up, faceless warriors. Because they think, because they're anonymous, even though they're not, they could say it to that person.
Yeah, I liken it to road rage sometimes. Because someone's in a vehicle, you can see someone. They could be, they could actually be a really nice person.
Yeah.
In person.
Behind the vehicle wheel.
You don't know in truth because they're there. But again, I think there's a degree of, well, I'm in a car or a van or whatever. I'm kind of protected, and it's like, yeah, but you've got windows and we can see you.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I totally get it. And I think, yes, there's the public side of it, as you're absolutely right. And then there's the DM type activities.
That's, to me, is worse because it's not in public, as you say, it's a direct message. Yeah. And even so, when you're talking about the social media, you can even go down to text messages, which I'll come on to. But yeah, the platforms do block specific people when they are public. But cyberbullying can still continue, even if there's been blocked by, they can even spread malicious rumours. So if we again take a real world example, I'm harassing you, Adam, online. You get me blocked by Facebook. That doesn't stop me going into my own personal feed and going, Adam looks like Mr. Bean or Adam looks like the Chipmunk. I can spread these humorous rumours. But I just find it really sad that these people are taking their time out to attempt and basically ruin somebody's life or give them a hard time.
It is a shame. And I think a good example at the moment, obviously we're in election season, is looking at the comments on politicians' feeds.
Yeah,
because
terrible.
Some are fair and just and done in the right way, and some are just can be quite personal.
Yeah.
And clearly the non-supporters are, well, they can be quite scathing in terms of what are they saying to people.
No, but everybody's, they've got their own right to be and say what they want to say. So you don't agree with that politician, you agree with that politician. And I know exactly what you're doing, or saying there, because reading some of the examples that I read through doing all of this, there was, I think, and obviously the biggest media sensationalization is in America, but they were talking about this particular politician and he was saying, I'm going to do this. People were going, no, you didn't do it last, and they were giving statistics and it was absolutely fine. Somebody literally underneath was like, you come to power, I will hunt you down. And it's just like, wow.
Yeah, that's a leap, isn't it?
That's a leap from statistics to don't.
Yeah,
I think it's awful.
Business as such to this. Yeah, I totally agree. And I think, I think part of the thing as well is, what one person might think is not bullying behaviour.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that the recipient doesn't agree. They might find it.
So the other type I've got is harassment, and that's an extremely common form of cyberbullying, and that's when it's just repeated and unrelenting negative threats. So again, I think this is a case of, for example, you're going on social media, no matter what you post, here's a picture of me and my lovely kids, here's a picture of me in New Zealand, here's a picture of me doing my business with Resilient Systems. No matter what it is, every time you post, I will negatively comment. I will make a negative comment about you. And I have seen it. I have seen it with some of my customers. I won't go into any details at all. But every single post underneath has been a comment. And it's just to the point where my customer's like, I'm not posting anymore because I find it awful. And I'm like, no, that's the wrong thing to do. But
we see it in the world of social. We run social media accounts. Yep, we see it in there, and we have to then deal with the sort of the aftermath, because it's a responsive thing in terms of someone said something. So yeah, we see that with clients, and it's not because they've necessarily done anything wrong. It's just you could have a former employee that's left under bad circumstances between them and
This
and the
particular
company.
one that I was talking about was exactly that.
Yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah.
You could have it where just the thing that you're talking about, people don't agree with it.
Correct.
You know, we have flirted, we have done some sort of kind of like political type advertising, delivering a campaign and a message.
Can I pick up on exactly that? You were saying, was quite a few episodes ago, you did something for a London client where you offered about road or something like that.
Yeah, it's to do with roads and transport.
Videos and stuff. And you were saying some people's videos were actually just like totally.
Yeah, so it was just, we're there to, and again, freedom of speech,
of course,
absolutely.
I get it.
But some of it was very derogatory. And, you know, you have to deal with it. And essentially, every post, it'd be like, some person went through every post and just wrote no in capital letters. The first post, every post. And it's like, that there, yes, I understand it. And it's the balance between what's freedom of speech and what's harassment.
That's harassment. No, on everyone. It's just.
Now, it's a bit different when it's a company and you're putting yourself out there. If it's an individual, obviously it gets very personal and this, that and the other. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. So, interestingly, I will ask you the question. The next two, I think I knew about them, but I didn't understand them. So, flaming.
I've heard this a while ago, actually. I haven't heard it for a while.
No. So instead of taking place over private messages or text, flaming usually occurs in a more public setting online, such as a chat group, gaming chat forum, and the cyberbullies send hurtful, angry, or shaming messages to the victim directly, but within the group so others can see.
So that's the digital equivalent of shouting across a room full of people about them. Okay.
I just didn't know, again. So, again, the hurtful message itself, the victim has lost some of their credibility and reputation within the group and may feel like they cannot be part of the community, and then they come inside themselves and leave the group. I didn't like that. And the last one is exclusion. Social bullying doesn't even have to include talking to the victim. Sometimes cyberbullies torment their victims by doing the opposite. They literally cut their victim out of every online group, kick them, report them for abuse, and harass them with malicious comments, discussing the victim among themselves when he's gone or when they've gone. Again, I'm like, wow.
Yep, but unfortunately these things exist. I think, I think
exactly.
all
So
of
there,
those.
I wanted to touch on the types of cyberbullying.
Yeah, I think that's important to define.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't it, beforehand? I
so
think
now
it's really
a couple
important.
of statistics.
Go for it. Like you say, it's a darker side of things, but this doesn't mean that it isn't worth discussing. And, you know, I think it'll all do as well just to kind of cover this.
Yeah, it does. I'm not going to go through every one of these, but basically the cyberbullying behaviour is broken down into some fairly high stats. So any online bullying behaviour is 18.7%. Of cyberbullying, and then you get name calling, swearing, insults, and it goes down. Rumour spreading, nasty message, purposeful threats. 0.4% extortion of money or other things. So that's, you know, and again, that was on the increase. Now, you mentioned very early on the podcast, which I find interesting, is that they're now taking it quite seriously in the schools. They're teaching the students, you know, even at a young age, all about digital bullying. So again, can I ask a question about your family? Has that come up? Have you?
Yeah, at the school have definitely covered it, for example. But obviously, it's a bit different because primary school age, for example, technically they shouldn't be on Facebook until the age of 13, for example. And
how easy is it to lie about your age?
Okay, so that's, but they're even educating them to that point in terms of saying, well, there's an age limit there for a reason. If you've lied about your age, thinking, "Oh, I get access," equally you've then on the internet walking around saying that you're an age older than you actually are. You know, and I think they've done a lot of education around that. There's obviously huge pushes around schools in terms of cyberbullying, make sure that it's covered in like on PSHE, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, and I think obviously we're looking at. Cyberbullying is very easy to think the word bullying associated to schools.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, you see it in public domain. It's just we're away from that school setting. It's a bit different. So, whilst the schools are doing a lot, and that'll filter through, there was equally, I'd say, a generation that, like, we never got taught about cyberbullying.
Nope.
You know, we were taught about bullying,
Yeah.
which kind of lends itself. But then obviously all the social media platforms come out. So I suppose there is a bit of a gap there that could exist. But people, you know, hopefully know enough about bullying to
stop
deal
it.
with that. Yeah.
So, again, may I ask, what have you done in terms of your family and looking at that? I know when I was younger with my sons, Dan and James, the internet was just coming around, and it was more of a, I want to say, a phenomenon. So
Yeah.
it wasn't really something that I had to do because we just grew up thinking the internet's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Look, I can download games, I can play, I can do like that. But you must be in a slightly different era, if I can say that.
Yeah, I think, I mean, social media's way off yet. That's not going to happen for a while.
But sorry.
But I've got parental controls
that's
in
what I'm saying.
place.
So you're not allowed. And if you spoke to
Yep.
them saying you're not allowed
So
to have a kid.
Xbox gaming, for example,
Yeah.
parental controls in there. We've got that set up in terms of who they are friends to. You know which friends they can add and how they should go about it. But I think the most important thing for me is encouraged a two-way dialogue.
Yeah.
As in, you want to add somebody, tell me. And
Yeah, definitely. Be open and honest
yeah,
about
yeah.
it.
It's not that I don't want you to have any friends online.
Yeah.
But it's just got to be done in the correct way. So,
Yeah.
and I've always said, if there's something that comes through that you're not sure about, you tell me, and you're not
definitely.
going to be in trouble. You're never going to be in trouble for telling me. When we'd have a problem is if you did tell me, and then it all goes wrong. And then, well, you know, we'd have to deal with it then. But so what I'm trying to say is, it's perfectly safe to have this conversation
it is.
about it, because what you want the conversation to happen rather than it not happen.
Yeah.
So you can proactively deal with it and, you know, set things up in the right way to try and minimise the chance of those happening.
Yeah. So I just want to pick up on a few points that you said there. How easy was it for you, bearing in mind you're fairly technical?
Yep.
How easy was it for you to set up the parent
Oh, really?
on the Xbox?
Yep, spot on. So I set myself up an account.
Yeah.
And then created child accounts
Yeah.
on there. I've done it the same we've got Kindles.
Yeah.
Done that exactly the same there. So they can only access the child account on the app, which has, on the tablets, for example, which has it locked down.
Yeah.
If I get apps, for example, centrally, I can then choose to share those apps with them if
Yeah.
they're appropriate. So it's like app control is controlled in there, and likewise with purchases on the gaming. So
Right.
putting those things in place should hopefully, it's all about minimising that risk, isn't it, as we
Yeah.
talk in cyber. So hopefully putting those in place. Now, they can still talk to their friends in a party. They could still have a number of friends there. And, I've had it where they're going, I'm trying to join so-and-so, but they won't join me. And it's not that they're being bullied. It's just, it's that power of connections. You know, you can only have, say, a team of 4.
Yeah.
There might be 8 kids on that all want to play it, and they all want to be with 2 people in particular.
Yeah.
So
And that's just
you've
kids.
got that dynamic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think in terms of putting it in, yeah, very simple. It's very app based. It's all app based now.
It is all app based, and I probably like to say that over the last couple of years, I've certainly seen an improvement, if I want to call it that, from both the Googles and the Facebooks and all the rest of them, actually setting up a friendly, child-friendly app. Google's got Google Family, Microsoft's got Microsoft Family.
Yep.
I think it's very,
YouTube
very
Kids.
easy now. YouTube Kids. So
Sorry, I'm yawning.
Sorry, not boring.
No, it's a late night. Don't do that.
Okay.
Late evening.
But I just think, in terms of, again, for our 2 listeners, this is not something difficult. It really isn't. If you just Google how to set up family for Microsoft, Xbox, I think they've made it exceptionally easy. And even
The
somebody
Xbox app is called Xbox Family.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
So basically, what I'm saying for those out there, if Adam can do it, anybody can do it.
Absolutely true. I'm not going to argue with that.
Not going to argue with that. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the same page as me, my friend, the cyber spell, I just want you to pick a
Stats.
few out of there. I don't want you to go through all of them.
Yeah,
but
on the
just pick a
table
few.
or anywhere?
Anywhere on the top of the page, please.
Okay,
The one,
got you.
Obviously, the one that I've bolded.
57% of young people have experienced bullying when playing online video games.
I mean, that's...
So there's a case in point that I've just touched on. So whilst me putting those measures in place, I'm under no influence no idea, of the fact that I think, right, that's cyberbullying dealt with, because then it's down to behaviour and how they handle it. Equally, I'm always listening to hear how they're talking, because it's not just a one-way street, is it? So
I do want to touch on that, but go on.
But I'm always saying, like, you know, you've got to think about how you're speaking to people. Do you remember the whole, you know, you get an email sometimes, you're like, whoa, this person's really angry.
Really angry.
Yeah, and it turns out they're not. Sometimes people have read my emails and rung me and gone, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. And all I've done in my head is just gone, right, I'll answer.
Black, white.
Yeah, I've gone, yes, no, absolutely. Not sure about that, I'll let you know. Ask me tomorrow about that one. Yeah. And they've gone, are you angry? I'm like, no.
I was just literally running out the door, so that's why.
But you can't interpret like that thing. So sometimes tone of voice might be. I've realised that my sarcasm, in inverted commas, is actually too deadpan. It took me years to realise this.
Really?
Jess is nodding over there. Jess is the same. I will be sarcastic. I'm like, I am being sarcastic and saying something, and sometimes the reaction I've got is, and sarcasm is a tricky one anyway, but sometimes I've been like, oh, right. And I'm like, no, not really. But I'd be like, of course I'm going to do that. But I wouldn't do it in a silly bit voice like that. I'd be like, of course I'm going to do that. I wouldn't realise that I'm doing it. So while in my head, I thought I was doing that. So sometimes you don't fully realise how it carries off to the other person.
The other year, I actually won the Sarcasm Award of 2023.
Did you?
Really?
Terrible. Yeah, I fell for that one.
You fell for that one. What I was going to say was that I do have some friends and family, and it has been an interesting, let's say, a conversation when they've said to me, I've been around there, where are the kids? Oh, they're off upstairs playing the game. I just chuck them upstairs online.
Yep.
And I'm like, do you know what they're playing? No. Do you know who they're talking to? No. I'm like, really? Sorry, that was sarcasm. No.
Yeah.
But I've actually gone, I'm sorry, are you, and they've just like, but why? And again, I don't mean it nastily. I'm not being forceful. I'm just going, no, I'm sorry, do you not understand? And then I think in one particular case, I saw them the following week and they went, Andrew, thank goodness. They were on some chat with something, and I listened in, and the amount of swearing and effing and blah shit, I was absolutely outraged. Yeah. And yet, the sad thing for me, the kids were like, yeah, but you swear mommy and daddy, and they just formed, it was part of life.
Yeah, I think it's right. That environment, so we've got, devices for us. I'm like, they're not going to be in bedrooms.
Nope.
We've got a room that, was it's a playroom essentially type thing, and I've set it up all in there.
Yeah.
The reason why I've done that is so I can have earshot of it.
Correct.
If I need it. Also, you've just got a bit better supervision in terms of, not that I'm stood there on top of them going, what are you doing? What's that?
No.
I'm not, but you can have a watchful ear is what I'd say.
a little eye
in your ear, a little watching out ear. But yeah, you're absolutely right, because I'm like, that's like I said, in the early days of the internet, I was gaming when it was, you had it's now Discord. It was called Roger Wilco.
That's going back a bit.
That is going back
a
bit. Yes, Roger Wilco.
Wow, well done.
I'm showing my pedigree of IT-ness here.
Absolutely. Gaming experience.
But it's essentially Discord.
What is Discord back then? Yeah, Roger Wilco.
So we were using that. But obviously, it wasn't at mass gaming.
No.
It was geeky to game.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I mean, everyone does it.
Everybody does it.
Yeah. Like Jess is younger. Jess, you game, don't you? The Lena games. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Whereas back in the day, it just wouldn't have been as common when we were growing up, which meant you didn't have as many people online, and really you'd only have your, forgive it, air quotes, geeky mates on with you. So you were mates anyway, and you're doing it, and it was kind of less open. Whereas now, you can have entire school classes on
it's
connections.
The norm.
Because they're all doing it.
And that's what's interesting when I'm talking about this subject, and, as you're reading through all of this, Adam, it was triggering massive memories, because I say me and you of that age where when online gaming was, when you said to your other friends at school, they were like, you do what?
Yep.
You sit with headphones on and talk. But what I'm getting at is that when you were online playing, and I remember the biggest game for us, one of my biggest was Midtown Madness.
Yes.
What a game that was. We used
Yes.
to play online. And the key is we used to be so disrespectful to each other, but because we knew each other, it was never, ever meant as derogatory or stuff like that. It was literally just like, oh, you... And we'd let loose.
Sausage.
But obviously, sausage. But obviously, the other person, when we'd meet at school or the following day, they're like, honestly, Andy, when you called me that, I was crying, laughing. I couldn't drive, but that's because we were so good friends.
Yeah.
But nowadays...
But that's about crossing that line, isn't it?
It is. It is,
and I
absolutely.
think it'd be no different to if you were playing football in the park or you go down the pub with your mates. Of course, you're all usually taking the mick out of each other and this, that, and the other. I think the key thing is making sure that you don't cross that line. But that's how
you never would,
you have to
though.
manage. No.
No, because you wouldn't want to upset
The problem is, though, when you then scale it to
Thank
more
you.
people, the lines become more blurred because you don't necessarily know. Like, those friends really well, correct?
100%, yes.
So you knew what fits and what
Yeah,
works,
absolutely.
and they knew you in the same way. However, when you've then got more people at scale, and then people can feel bullied, ganged up on, all of
The
this
other
sort
thing
of
I was
stuff.
going to say was that even as good friends, I knew that I would not say something that would physically hurt you, that would upset you, because I'm like, oh, Adam, I'm sorry, mate, I didn't mean that. And that's what they were saying about faceless warriors. I can't see you, so I can just call you a name, and then to me, I'm like, gone.
Yep.
And that's the problem.
That's okay,
Yeah.
because you got no feedback. Yeah, absolutely
So
correct.
anyway, a couple of other ones that I want you to pick up on if you like.
Yep, please do.
Bullying among females was found to be more indirect and involved behaviour, which again, not very good. England and Wales, insults and name calling were the most common forms of cyberbullying.
Well, there we go.
Yeah. And I think the one that really hit me the most, 3 in 10 disabled people, that's 29% of the UK, have experienced bullying or trolling online for their disabilities, which I
I think is appalling.
I think
I think
that's
it's appalling.
really, really bad.
I do also think, though, that, and I'm not justifying that in a way, I do also think the world has got slightly better, I'd like to think, in the last 5 years,
Yes.
where others start calling that out
100%.
and saying that is not acceptable.
No,
So whilst you
100%.
might have a keyboard warrior saying something there, I have seen comments where people then go, absolutely not.
No, it's not
And-
right. I think
yeah.
in a good light, if we talk about the media in a good light, I'm 50 odd now. Yeah. In the last 5-6 years, and I think if I ask the same question of you as I'm saying this, Adam, the football, the Olympics, whatever, you've now got the Olympics and then the Paralympics. You've got the football and then the women's football. If you think back to in the early days of when TV and all that, I can't remember that. It was the Olympics. It was men's football. So the Paralympics and the women's football, they are becoming the norm now, which I think is a great thing. But what I'm trying to say is back then, me and you didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't recognise it. I didn't see it.
There's also bigger campaigns that sit on the back of that in terms of stand up to bullying.
Yes, there are.
Racism campaigns.
Yeah,
in
show the red
football.
card, which
Yeah,
is in
show the red
football,
card to racism. Sorry,
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the name there.
Yeah.
But, so there are equally all of those campaigns going on, which is
It's
really
really
great
good.
because it becomes more public
The
facing.
other one that I've seen recently, I mean, I don't watch a lot of TV, but the advert is where there's a group of lads and they take the mickey out of somebody, but one of their other friends just goes, I'm sorry, no, that's not right. And that's to say it. If you don't think it's right, say it. And again, that's back to my whole thing about you're a faceless warrior. Just because you're behind the keyboard doesn't mean you can say it. If you wouldn't say it to their face, don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
No, absolutely. So, on to a couple of other things. And again, this is really sort of like, again, we're getting a bit dark. Sexist insults. So, this is based upon, compared to 2019 to now. So, sexist insults increased from 12% to 16%.
Wow.
Homophobic from 15 to 17. Racist from 13 to 14. Insults about appearance, 23 to 25. Threats to harm the victim or their family, 13 to 12. So that's actually reduced. And insult about religion has reduced. But the top 4 there, and again, it is just all about that. What I will say, Adam, to try and temper this is like anything. We are more aware of it now, so the statistics are more in your face.
Yep.
Yeah, me and you were probably aware of bullying at school, but we weren't part of it, or we, not turned a blind eye. But you know what I mean? The media now, not wanting to use the word about sensationalise, but we touched on it last week with the Bitcoin. We are more aware of it now, therefore there are more statistics.
Yeah, so therefore we're glad that the media sensationalise
Absolutely.
it. Yeah, 100%, because it needs sensationalising in order for people to... In fact, it's not sensationalising, it's reporting it accurately for what it is. Sorry, I'll correct that. But you need that. Because
and that's what I'm getting at.
For it. And I think, just come on the Bitcoin stuff and all of this. Okay. So people talk, last week we talked about Bitcoin being decentralized currency and this, that, and the other. It's very easy to look at the Bitcoin thing as a completely separate idea. But actually, the idea was it's decentralized. It's a community currency.
Yeah.
Now, the internet, who owns the internet? No one. I know you could say, the Amazons and the Apples and all this sort of thing, the Googles. But what I'm saying is, and the reason why it's important to talk about it is not because people go, I know all of those things exist in some form. I don't know the data, but I know they exist, so why should I be bothered? Yeah. The point of what I'm trying to make is, as a community, internet community, we can set the standard.
We can.
In terms of, this is what's appropriate. It's no different to your social norms when you're walking out and about on a day-to-day thing. You're walking down the high street, what you do socially there. You're in a cafe, a restaurant, what's socially acceptable. Now, that is socially acceptable because we've set the standards of behaviour in society.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's good to cover something like this is we need to make sure that we all are collectively setting the standards of what we think the internet should be.
I think you picked up on a very good point. I just want to change the words. We are all responsible.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
and we need to establish those norms. So you might go, why are you quoting statistics? And I know all those things that exist. I'm like, yes. So because you know it, you can actually help be the remedy and you can sort of take action. I'm not saying roll up your sleeves and start a keyboard argument over the internet. Do not do that. Keep yourself safe. However, reporting functions that are there in social media and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
You can play an active role in supporting other people and keeping an eye out for it.
Yeah, I mean, you can. If you look at Facebook nowadays, they've helped because you can see a post, and if you don't like it or you think it's derogatory in any way, you can just click the little three dots, the little three ellipses, and you can report post. And they are having, I think Facebook, this is not right, but over the last couple of years, I know they've almost doubled their moderators.
Yeah, they've had huge responsibility.
They've had huge response to that, where people reporting, and the downside is you will get a lot of people that are going, but nothing happens. There are thousands of things that are happening in the background. Again, one of the stories that I was reading last week, and it is unfortunate, Adam. It's all about the media picking on or social highlighting something, but. I think the story was basically that this person had had a bad experience from this particular service. And I'll keep it as high level as that.
Yep.
And yet, funnily enough, somebody had commented and went, well, if you look at our statistics for the last couple of years, this is an absolute single entity. But the problem is, the news themselves, this service does incredibly well. Doesn't sell as good as this person got a crappy, resulty, awful experience. But it's like 1%. But you've got to understand, and I think, you and me have spoken about this before, you've got to be a balanced individual to go, okay, I'll read that story, but I'll make my own judgment.
Yeah, and I think that's, and then not taking necessarily that as complete fact per se, as in representative of the whole thing.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So a lot of people say, if I report something in Facebook, nothing will get done. Absolutely it does. Somebody will eventually read it. Okay, they may go a week later, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, nothing's happened. And I'm like, yeah, but keep reporting it. If you're sat on your doorstep every night and, some kids or whatever, bullies, you wouldn't not report it to the police. And you would still report it to the police saying, this is the second time it's happened now. This is eventually something will take place and happen. So it's the same with this.
Yeah. And again, if they don't know about it, they can't do anything about it. And that goes for all platforms.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Law enforcement.
I think now in terms of the time of what I want to do is try and touch on prevention. of
Yes,
cyberbullying.
okay.
So this is the last couple of pages, mate. Now, interestingly enough, cyberbullying prevention is everyone's responsibility.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
that's
funny.
nice.
I touched on that, didn't
We
I?
touched on that again. So it's crucial for protecting the safety of children and teenagers all over the world. It's sometimes difficult to tell if adolescence is being bullied online or not, or if an adolescence. And again, if I can just come back, my friend, how old are your lovely little children?
9 and 8.
9 and 8. So they haven't really, because of your wonderful parenting skills.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
They would probably disagree.
They probably would. Dad pulled the internet out on us last night.
Yeah.
Evil dad.
Evil dad.
Evil dad.
Evil.
But I was probably going to say, you've probably not introduced them to social media from their point of view.
They know of it with
They
my
know of
line of
it.
work. Yeah, with my line of work, they know about it. They know what I do. Because obviously they see the videos and things like that that we produce sometimes because I might be a bit interested in it and this, that and the other.
But that must be a healthy interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. So other than that, though,
Right. So again, putting daddy on the spot here, have you been asked by the kids, can they have a social media account?
no, they'd rather have a smartphone first. The question, when are we getting smartphones, is the thing that I field on a regular basis.
All right, okay, but fielding it,
And I just say, not yet.
not yet. Evil dad.
Evil dad.
Yeah. Okay, so you've not asked about that. So now take into account your Xbox family, so the question is,
Yeah.
and I know the answer, but they play online games.
Yes.
You vet all of the kids that they go
Do.
online with.
100%.
You listen in, not with a, who you're doing, what you're talking about. You just have as you said, an eyeful ear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all of
An
the things
eyeful
like
ear.
that. That's great.
It was a
isn't it?
watchful ear. That
It's
was
a watchful ear. An eyeful
But
ear.
an eyeful ear works.
Yeah, well, there we go.
Yeah, there we go.
I often get my words. I find this podcast very lethargic.
Yeah, of course you do.
Look, you've even fallen asleep.
Yeah, I am.
Exactly. So what I'm getting at, though, is that I reckon in the next 2 to 3 years, you will be getting more questions on social media.
100%. I'm expecting
Yeah,
it.
you're
Like,
expecting
I know it's coming because
Yeah.
it's all it takes is one kid in the class to say, get it.
Well, the other thing that I often find my friends and family saying, and if I just
Actually,
go on,
YouTube,
yes,
they want YouTube all the time.
right.
Actually, so I say it's easy to think of YouTube as a social media platform.
It is really, but nobody thinks
It is
about
a video
that.
platform,
Yeah.
but it's also a social media platform. So the one thing I do get actually is YouTube all the time. Sorry,
Right.
you just sparked
Now,
that.
can I don't know the answer to this. What's the age?
For an
YouTube?
account,
13?
yeah, so I think it is for that. I'd have to check it up.
Right, I have to check it up.
but there's YouTube Kids, for example, but they've been, to friends where you can access YouTube. There's some videos that I watch with them. Colin Furr's YouTube channel,
Yes.
absolutely fantastic. I'd highly recommend it.
For kids and for families.
Yeah, he's incredible. He makes all sorts of stuff, but he's essentially built a bunker under his garden.
Wow.
Like probably the size of this room. He's then created adjoining tunnels through his property underground to do it.
Is he
So I'm
allowed to do that?
Oh yeah, he's got all the planning. He's
Right.
just currently in the process of having it. So he's got an underground garage at the front of his property. He's been digging all this out and then fills it back in.
Yeah.
And he puts steel up and creates these bunkers. But he's got a DeLorean that he wants to come out of the floor
Wow.
and then drive off. So he wants to drive up to his house going. So I'm like, this is like,
Yeah,
this is just,
this is great.
This is brilliant. This is, so I have had the kids watching that with me and I was going, is that man digging the tunnels again? So they do experience a bit of YouTube,
Yeah,
but
but
like
that's
it's
great, though.
controlled.
That's controlled. Yeah, so no, I agree with that. So they're going to ask about social media in the next couple of years. You've said that, so that's 100%. I think at that point, what I was coming back to is that my friends and families have said, all right, Adam, the child, I'm making this
Yeah.
up, Adam's got his own Facebook account, but he's only 10. But George and Fred have got their own accounts, so he wants to join. And I'm like, but that doesn't make it right.
I know. I used to work in schools a few years ago.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
Before I did HubSpot coaching and doing all sorts of brilliant. And there was that going on.
Yeah.
There was equally kids playing Call of Duty, like that were way too young to play it.
Yeah.
But then it was like, well, so and so's playing it, and I'm like,
But
what
I
are you
do-
doing on
and
Call of Duty? You'd hear it like just being in the
I know,
classroom.
but I do have to rebel against this. And sadly, it is because, it keeps them quiet, doesn't it? And I'm like,
Sorry.
but that's not right. But again, we digress.
No.
We digress. But when you do get to that point where they are asking about their, can I have a social media account? Obviously, they're still too young. You will wait until they are at the right age. And this is a tricky question. At what age has Facebook set, and YouTube and all the rest of them, have they set 13 at the age? Because is that when a child starts to become a teenager that starts to think, do you know what? I know right from wrong?
Do you know what? I don't know the answer to that question in terms of why that age. It'd be interesting to know, actually. I will go and look that up.
No, but it is interesting because, again, it's like anything. As a young child, you are impressionable.
Yep.
So somebody says, Adam, do me a favour, leap over that hedge, knowing there's nettles and all of that. You'd probably do it for a laugh. Now at this age, Adam, go leap over that hedge. Well, first of all, you go, my back can't take it. But you'd probably then look and go, but hang on, Andy, there's nettles up. Oh, you spoilt my joke. So there's, what I'm getting at there is that the age responsibility kicks in and goes, okay, no, I'm sensible enough to not do that.
Yeah. Do you know what that... I understand. Basically, here we go. So apparently, and this is just a quick Google search, so if this is out of date, please forgive me, but Facebook social media appears requires to be at least 13 years old to use the site. This age traces back to 1990s law prohibits the tracking and data collection of children. So it's not... so it's more to do with the data side of things, apparently, if that is, obviously, I've Googled that. It is a reputable website. Apparently that's the case. Yeah. So minimum age requirement stems from 1998 US legislation which banned collection of children's data without parental consent.
I'm almost going to say that's the wrong reason for it to be that age.
Yeah, I thought.
And that's my opinion.
Yeah. So it wasn't, like you're saying, is it deemed that they're at it? That's because they can't collect the data at that age. Okay.
So to finish off, my friend, before I ask you for a couple of more examples, interestingly, and funnily enough, you picked up on this, Adam, over the last few years, high-profile cyberbullying cases have caught the media's attention.
Yep.
There have been a number of recent cases involving teenagers who have been harassed online by groups of their peers or whatever, and even their boyfriends and girlfriends, leading to, and I'm sorry to say this, tragic deaths that could have been prevented with intervention. I'm not going to read the stat out that I do know. All I'm going to say is that, unfortunately, the loss of life due to cyberbullying has jumped considerably over the last couple of years.
Yes.
Again, that's probably the darkest subject, but it really
But this is why it's important we discuss it.
Absolutely. Okay, because if you were on the other end of it, I can't even begin to think.
Look, appreciate it's heavy.
Yeah.
But let's discuss it. Got to discuss it.
Absolutely. So apparently what they're now doing is they are beginning to create laws and most of the countries around the world have started to add anti-bullying laws, and I think specifically adding languages that addresses cyberbullying, electronic harassment. And I think, picking up on a point you said earlier, you've certainly heard and seen more about the government and politicians and the media. They've all started to pick up on this because, as you've just said a few seconds ago, this is a deep, dark subject, but it should not be ignored.
But it's because it's deep and dark and it's kind of unseen.
Yeah.
That's why it needs to be seen.
Yeah, I agree with you. So a lot of the stuff here is something, but they vary greatly on the subject of crime and punishments. We are getting to the point where people are beginning to go to jail, or people are beginning to be, if I say, charged for these laws. And I think I've seen it a lot more in terms of the UK government laws, etc., etc. So I think it really is. I think it really is a good thing to do. And as I was going through, as I said at the start of this podcast, sadly I was going through this, Adam, and I was like, wow, oh dear. But I came out at the end of it, and again, I'm repeating what I was saying, what you're saying, Adam. I didn't want to not talk about this subject, though, because I think if we all hide our heads in the sand, oh, well, I know it happens, but it's nothing to do with me. Unfortunately, again, I was reading some of the stories, Adam, and again, I'll get this story wrong, but basically, I think there was a young lady down in London who knew about cyberbullying, turned a blind eye to it, didn't talk to her son about it. Unbeknown to her, he was a victim of cyberbullying, and tragically he took his life, and now she's campaigning for it. Yeah. But she naturally, because we're human, she was like, I blame myself. I turned a blind eye to it, and I wish I hadn't. If I hadn't, my son would probably be alive today. And I just felt, that was when I switched off, because I was like, wow, that is a deep, deep, dark.
It is, and I think what we need to do is we really need to, we've called it Take a Break to take a break, basically, but with a technology theme, and we've talked about all sorts of wonderful things. We've met businesses that are doing incredible things in terms of their startups with tech. But actually, we've got to play on being able to just take a break from the working day. That doesn't mean it all has to be roses and sunshine. And most of the time, our podcast is pretty much roses and sunshine. We care about this stuff. I think it's the key thing to say. And I think, hopefully this would just help raise a bit of awareness to, say, parents or people that could be, seeing cyberbullying, or if someone's not even aware of cyberbullying, that could happen. What I would say is, if you got kids, just check in with them. Don't necessarily, I know if they've got their, I was just seeing there are extra security settings for 13 to 17-year-olds on Facebook. So I'd be saying review that if you haven't. But just try and encourage a positive dialogue, I think, is my call to action for parents anyway, with the kids, so that it can just be discussed. It can
openly,
no judgment.
Nope.
Really concentrate as a parent to make sure that conversation is like a safe one.
Yeah.
As in, I'm not going to tell you off.
No.
I just want to know, because, like you say, it can lead to some incredible things, and incredibly nasty things, sorry. And I think it's just so important to make sure that we're, looking out for each other.
Yeah, definitely.
I.e. online, but also personally. But, there are these things where we could, as a community of people using the internet, using social media, we can take that active action to stamp it out, basically. Yeah. And yes, you'll always have the bits that go unseen. You can't see them, and this, that, and the other. However, at some point, if that then reared its head, hopefully someone would step in and go, whoa, hang on a minute, and check on the individual. So, look, yes, it's a dark subject, as is cyber. It's anything with the name cyber. You just think of that hoodie hacker person typing on a keyboard, but it really isn't.
No.
It's a case of, it's just another space where we all congregate and we do things, whether that's gaming, social media, whether that's comment sections on news posts and things like this. I've seen people get attacked there verbally. So I think, it's really important to discuss. I think it's then understanding about how social media platforms work. So if you're unsure about how they work, it's about educating yourself in terms of understanding that. So, Andy's got another page here talking about algorithms and viral effects, and things like this. There's, there's a trend at the moment that's going around that we were talking about yesterday. She's known as the Hawk-Tuah girl, right?
Yes, I've read that.
Yeah, so that is all over the place. But, you do think, obviously, it was somebody interviewing her. She's said the Hawk-Tuah thing.
Yeah.
And then that's gone viral on social media. And all I always think is, God, I hope she's okay with that. I hope it's all okay. Because she didn't know that was going to go viral. Probably the guy interviewing her didn't know that was going to go viral. And yet there she is being broadcast all over the road. The Joe Rogan podcast was talking about it, sort of thing.
And obviously the subject of what she was talking about, that could lead to
cyberbullying. Someone might make comments, someone might do these. So it's about awareness. I make a point of being aware of those things to see what it is. And I think, I just hope that she is okay with it all.
I want to pick up on a point that you've done there in this digital age, Adam. And again, you're an adult, you're a family man, a father of two lovely children, 9 and whatever, 10. When they were first born, the internet was around. It was that. You look at it now, Adam, and you must see this whole effect wording that we keep forgetting what it's called. But you can see the internet
cyclical.
No, it's
You're
something
going
effect-
round and round with your arms.
Yeah, but it's that something effect we were talking about.
Oh, right, yeah,
about
yeah.
how digital.
Oh,
grows.
that one, yeah, yeah.
We can never remember it.
The must something.
Yeah, but you must see in terms of your the internet and the kids. Every year something's like getting better and doubling and stuff like that. So what I'm getting at is, as a parent, it is difficult. I mean, it already is difficult. But keeping up with everything in terms of digital, again, speaking to a lot of my friends, they are like, I just can't keep up. So therefore, I don't discuss it.
Moore's Law.
Thank you.
Moore's Law is the doubling effect. Yeah.
Doubling effect. If you forget that next week, Jess, you're in trouble.
Yeah, Jess.
How it, Jess? But you must be thinking, goodness me, I've got to keep up again and again and again. But you've been very responsible there. You're having that open chat with your children. Don't bury your head in the sand. Because they may come to you in 4 years' time, Adam, going, Dad, what's this? And you're going,
yeah,
I have no idea.
Well, the difference is, and I said this the other week, is like since setting up my business. So originally, to cut an individual out of the background, I'd have to get the pen tool.
I remember
and
saying
then click, and then you'd go wrong, and then you'd accidentally lose it, and then you'd have to start again.
Undo.
Now you can use Canva, and you could just go
2 clicks,
remove the background.
Yeah,
and you can use Photoshop, remove the background.
Yeah.
So even just that in itself, I'm thinking about this new startup yesterday.
Exactly.
I'm like, you've got actually some really good tools out there that I didn't have, and that was even there. So yeah, you're absolutely right in terms of doing it. I think the other thing is you look at devices, we've got really high resolution cameras on there and this, that and the other. The best question that I had from my kids, and I said this, was where they saw a video and they went, is that real?
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
I mean, what a crazy question.
And I'm like, yep, fair enough. And I was like, it is real. But yeah, I was like, that's a really healthy question to have.
It is.
And I think, in terms of that, it's about questioning it. So, viral content, is it real?
It's an interesting subject. I'd like to thank you for allowing us to delve into your family life. I did think it was important.
It is important. It's massively important. And, I think if anyone is listening that maybe goes, actually, I need to maybe just have a look at that or think about this or just keep an eye out on or check in on someone who you think might have been having things often whilst, you might not experience cyberbullying, you might know someone that does, check in on him. See how they're doing.
Help them out. And I always remember our friend Mark, Mr. Weenut. Remember when we were talking about the episode of and changing the SSID?
Yes, on his
somebody
Wi-Fi.
like Mark, wonderful, wonderful person. Even if somebody gets out of this, do you know what? I'm going to look at family Xbox. I'm going to look at family Google. I'm going to do this. Look at parental controls. Do you know what? We've helped somebody again.
Yeah, so that's your preventative stuff where
absolutely.
you can do. The thing is, you can never completely prevent it because as soon as you open that dialogue element up, things can happen, messaging, speech, and so forth. But encourage those healthy conversations. And if that's you just checking in on someone that you think is a victim of it, check they're okay. Let's look out for each other and look after each other.
I think it's very important, Adam, and you picked up on a very, very good point that if your children trust you in terms of having that conversation, they won't feel frightened of coming to you because they're going to get into trouble. But, hey, Dad, I'm on a chat forum or, whatever it may be. This has been said to me. What do I do? That's a health. And you're like, thank goodness. Thank you. Thank you. Let's deal with this now. So that's wrong. The reasons it's wrong is this. This is what I'm going to do to prevent that in the future. But he then, I'm saying he, but you know what I'm saying. They then know, right, well, that is wrong then. And isn't that what parental and caring is all about? It's like telling the children.
And I know we're focusing quite heavily on parent because that's, a lot of the stats where they're focused.
But that's where I believe we're preventing it. And right at the start, Adam, you were saying, hey, my school, for my kids, they're already doing this.
Yeah. And ask your school if if you've got kids and you're thinking, what do they do? Just ask the question. Just say, hi, do you know what? I'd just really like to know what my kids are being taught about cyberbullying because I'd love to know.
Yeah.
I'm sure the school will go, oh, yeah, it's this. Here's
also, what I will say is that after going down this deep, dark hole, I came out on the other side, and actually the amount of information available on the internet helping parents understand this, the governments, there's training courses galore, there's free training courses that parents can take online, there's ton, and honestly, Adam, thousands of YouTube people online telling you how. Just take an interest, learn, and you can prevent this type of thing.
That has been a really good
episode.
Sorry. No, there's absolutely no need to apologise. It's an important topic to cover.
Yeah.
Like I say, we're taking a break.
Yeah.
And that's technology, and we're taking a break from our business day, and we're actually looking at a real social... And if you think about it, Bitcoin and community currency, if you haven't listened to that, have a listen. But, that's socially driven in some regards, as in by the people.
Yes, exactly.
This is exactly the same.
Yeah.
This is people, behaviour, societal norms.
Yeah.
The problem is, as soon as you step into the digital world... Do you know what? I want to watch Ready Player One again.
Oh, what a great film that is.
But you see the difference between the digital
Absolutely.
world and the real world, if that makes sense. And it's about creating those societal norms and making sure that we're looking out for each other. So, no, that was great. So thank you for that. And I appreciate all the time and effort you've put into that.
No, it's great.
I'm really excited about our workshop.
Yeah, that's going to be really good. I've got some ideas. I was playing around the other day. So you know that Windows has got a sandbox mode?
Yes.
Yeah,
I've never used it, but yeah.
So Sandbox is basically, I've got within my Windows 11 laptop, I've got a Windows 11 operating system, but it's 100% protected.
Yeah.
Okay, so even if, and I am actually going to do this, I'm going to disable all my antiviruses and download some stuff into this sandbox to try and make it and look as though it's been infected. And how to do it. I haven't quite worked out how I'm going to do it, but that's like one of the ideas. And I think the key for our workshop is not death by PowerPoint. Like you said, it's some real
stuff.
world examples.
Yep, there will be a bit of obviously talking and going through. I thought we could put, and we'll just share this bit here. I thought we could put different sort of examples of scams out around the room so people can walk around, have a look at them.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, rather than us going, here's a scam. Yeah.
Did you know that this is actually not a free one? Please put your bank details.
Yes. Insert your sort code here. So I thought we could look at it that way. So we want it to be really fun and interactive. I'm really
I think
looking
so.
forward to it.
No, I'm going to have some
So
fun
we need to get a photograph, me, you and Dan.
Dan the man?
Dan the man that can, downstairs.
I thought you meant my son, he's Dan the man.
No, not yet. Yeah, he is Dan the man. The other Dan the man.
You're the Dan the man, right.
Centre manager here. And we'll be putting that out on
So
socials.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. So, coming out bright and bushy-eyed, what's the plans for the weekend?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I did. There is a school fair thing on, and the young lad is DJing.
The young lad, is that you?
No, that's not me.
Oh,
That's
right,
the young lad.
The young
My
lad?
young lad. He is DJing his school summer fair. But
Wow.
just apart from that, I'm playing golf on Sunday. I am playing golf.
Is that, I'm racking my brains, Great North Air Ambulance?
It isn't actually. This is a separate thing. I'm going up Northumberland way on Sunday. So I'm really excited to do that because I've been working hard.
I've not played golf for years and years and years.
So yeah,
and years.
I haven't actually got a round in this year. I've been to the driving range a few times this year, but I haven't got a single round of golf in since last year.
I purchased my golf clubs a year before I set up Resilient Business Systems. In 2004, I bought my golf clubs and started taking golf lessons and doing like that. 2005, I set up Resilient. 2006, I sold my golf clubs. I was not getting any time at all.
Yeah, exactly. So I do like that. And then pre-season rugby starts next week.
Oh my goodness me! Still cold plunging, are we?
I was in there this morning.
Yes.
Do you know what? I did the job yesterday. It was red hot.
It's been beautiful.
It was red hot. And we're in a room, obviously, at this prom. So hundreds of bodies, like generating heat with like food stuff going on, DJ lights going on. It's just like, it's so hot. So when I got home, I was like, I'm going in there. So I filled it with fresh water. And I just sat in it for 20 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
Do you know what? I slept so well. It just brought my body temperature right down. Seek medical advice first before you do cold plunging.
That was very good. You could become an advert talkover person.
Yeah, I'd be rubbish at those fast bits.
Probably so.
What are you doing this weekend?
Definitely getting a haircut. It's getting a bit long and getting a bit warm, so definitely doing that. Nothing much else, really. We are not doing any work whatsoever.
Good.
So a bit of programming because I really enjoy that, and I really must dig out my power on my gaming PC. It's feeling neglected.
Yeah, I've done a bit of that lately. Helldivers.
My son is very much into Helldivers, although, bless him, he is taking Friday and Monday off because there's a new DLC download for Final Fantasy, I want to say.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
So he's taking the weekend off.
There
He's a huge gamer. Very proud of him.
Lead by example.
Exactly.
Helldivers 2 and Chivalry 2.
Okay, sorry. One of the things I know a lot of people are not going to be able to see this, but in my
He's
house
got his
now,
phone in his
my
hand.
father, my Father's Day present
Yes.
was.
Oh, yeah. Oh, mate.
That's in my dining room now.
So just put my camera. You can't beat a bit of bully. All right. So I'm holding it up there. Might be able to see. But Andy, you've got the proper pose on with your darts in your hand. So basically, you've got your dartboard sorted at home with a bullseye surround.
With a bully. You can't beat a bit of
What
bully.
about all those holes in the wall all the way?
There are no
down?
holes in the wall. So my son introduced me, and as you know, we've got a dartboard up in the office.
You do. I'll have to come up and play.
Oh, please do. We
in all of our free time.
No, in all of our free time. So we've been playing probably for about 2 months. We started off on 101, and you literally just did like that. No doubles starts or anything because we were so bad. Yesterday, we upped the game to 301, double in, double out.
Nice.
And we're actually doing very well. And I got the bug. And I went I'm really enjoying this. So Blessman and my family got together and bought me a dartboard, darts, and the bully surround to stop it going in the wall. Brilliant. And that's in my dining room now. So this is going to sound so geeky and sad, Adam. So last Saturday, I'm programming on my stuff. I've got the dining room set up. So I program. My Samsung thing goes off to say you've got to get up, walk around. I go and have 10 minutes darts. Then I sit back down and program. And then I get up and throw 10 minutes of darts.
It works.
Hey,
it works.
Gets me up and about me. So, really enjoying that. But, hopefully going to have a quiet weekend and then looking forward. We've got a busy few weeks of podcasts with lots and lots and lots of guests.
We have. We've got loads of people in the wings.
I know.
I'm I'll see when we can fit you in.
I know.
Yeah, because we want them. So, it's been brilliant. So,
well, have a great weekend, Adam. Hope you have a good one. And both me and you were rushing off, posing for the photo, and then rushing
going
off
separate ways, and I'll see you in a week.
I'll see you in a week. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.